Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We begin our service as we sing together, Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. How beautiful the day is. It is Shabbat. We turn now to page 2 for the blessing over the candles and the fruit of the vine. We have a special treat. We have a bar mitzvah family here. Levi Gladstein and his family are going to lead us in the blessings over the candles and the fruit of the vine. And Levi is going to become a bar mitzvah as he reads from the Torah and Haftarah and leads services tomorrow night. Please.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'rei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'achava u'ratzon hinilanu zikarot l'ma'aseh breshit ki hu yom tahila l'mikrei kodesh zeher l'yetziat mitzrayim ki banu v'hartak v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amin v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahavanu U'ratzon hinilanu Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, Mazal Tov Levi, and you cannot see us, but your teacher for the past 2 years, Susan Allen, is here, and you should have seen how proud she is and how well you have done. We have here with us Sophie, who is going to be confirmed tomorrow night, not tomorrow night, Sunday night, and as we are celebrating the holiday of Shavuot, everyone should watch her being confirmed on YouTube, and Sophie has worked very hard to get to that point, so I want to offer you a blessing for your confirmation. I wish you were here in person, but you will be here in person on Sunday, and you will be blessed then as well. So my blessing for you that actually comes from the Hebrew Bible, from the book of Numbers, that will be read on this Shabbat. We're beginning with the book of Numbers. It's the priestly benediction. It's the oldest blessing we have to bless our children and people in a happy occasion. And it goes like that. Yesimech Elohim kesara Rivka Rachel veLeah. May Adonai our God make you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. Yevarchech Adonai veYishmerech. May God bless you and keep you and guard you. Ya'er Adonai panav elaich veYechunech. May God's face always shine upon you, Sophie, and may God always deal graciously with you. V'yisa Adonai panav elayich, v'yasem lach shalom. May God's face will be lifted unto you, and may you feel the presence of the divine in your life, now and for your entire life. And may God grant you the most important blessing of all, the blessing of shalom, of peace and wholeness and wellness. Shabbat shalom and good luck, and may you continue to go from strength to strength, Sophie.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And there is a special prayer that I wanted to share with us, with everyone tonight, thinking of our brothers and sisters in the land of Israel. And this is a blessing that at my synagogue in Jerusalem is the closing blessing every Shabbat. Adon HaShalom, Melech she'ashalom shelo, sim shalom ben amcha Yisrael, ve'yitrabeh HaShalom ben kol ba'ei olam. Source of shalom, ruler of shalom, grant shalom to your people Israel. Let the shalom spread to all your creatures. Let there be an end to hatred, jealousy, competition between people. Let there be only great love and shalom between us all, so that we can all gather together, everyone with their fellow, speaking to each other, learning the truth from one another. Allahu inta salama minka salame. Adon HaShalom barcheinu b'shalom, source of shalom, bless us with shalom. And let us say, Amen. We turn now to page 20 to welcome the Sabbath bride as we sing together Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala p'nei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabla. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala p'nei Shabbat, nekabla, nekabla. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom umevorach.
And we rise as we turn to page 28 for the Berlow.
Adonai HaMevorach Leolam, Leolam Vaed. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom our praise is due. Praise be the one to whom all praise is due. Now and forever.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch Ata Adonai, Amariv Aravim. And we turn to page 34 for the calling of the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand. They shall be for frontlets between your eyes. When you worship, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, that ye may remember and do all of my commands.
Turn now to page 40 to sing together the song our ancestors sang as they were crossing the Sea of Reeds, Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch Ata Adonai, hapores sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. On page 46.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch Ata Adonai, אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, God of our fathers and mothers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign deliverer, helper, and shield, blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch ata Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up, and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch ata Adonai, mechayei hakol. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch ata Adonai, Ariel HaKadosh. Please be seated. We continue on page 61 with the blessing for Shalom. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, or eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch ata Adonai, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol et uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam, tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
We all need healing and courage and strength in our lives, in the life of everyone that is dear to us. The Misha Berach, the prayer for courage and strength and healing, is on page 253.
Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. For the past 70 plus years, my parents have been living in a beautiful Arab home in Jerusalem. Israelis call that kind of homes Arab homes. It's actually something that is rare and considered special and beautiful and more expensive. Those are houses where Arab residents of the country lived in prior to 1948. And in the War of Independence in 1948, when the Israeli army won the war, they fled or were forced to flee, and those abandoned houses were sold to Jews, only Jews by the state of Israel, and Jews are now living in them, and my parents have been living there almost since the War of Independence for more than 70 years. Before 1967, the 6 Days War, nobody wanted to live in our neighborhood. Our house was about 150 yards from the border, the Jordanian border, and from time to time, Jordanian snipers and Israeli snipers exchanged fire, and it was not the best location in the world to be in between those exchanges of fire. One of my first memories is being taught that when you go outside to play, there are certain parts of the neighborhood that you do not go next to them. In fact, my parents always told a story about our first visit, my first visit to New York when we went to see my grandparents, my mother's parents. And after a day, I cried to them and I said, I want to go back to Israel. I don't like those people. And my mother said, why don't you like my parents, your grandparents? And I said, we've been here for a whole day and they haven't shown us the border. How would we know where to go and where not to go? Growing in the divided city of Jerusalem, it was clear to me that everywhere in the world there has to be a border, and it has to be a border with an enemy that you are afraid of. It kind of changed in 1967, but not that much. Jerusalem became so-called united. The other part of my parents' neighborhood, Abu Tor, was conquered by the Israeli army, so was all of Jerusalem, and so was all of the West Bank. And the residents, the Palestinian residents of the West Bank and of Jerusalem have been living under Israeli occupation for more than 50 years. And I want to share something that happened to us as a family that kind of bursts the bubble of euphoria that all of Israel was entangled with right after 1967 and the great victory of the 6 Days War. One day, we heard a knock on the door. The only people in the house were my dad and myself, and my father opened the door. There was an elderly lady, and someone that looked to me then as an old man. He was probably 40, she was probably 65. And they were both Arabs, Palestinians, residents of Ramallah. And they wanted to see the house that was theirs until 1948, when they had to flee during the night. It was clear, even to me, a 6.5-year-old boy, that the man was shamed and embarrassed and didn't want to be there and didn't want to come there and was forced by his mother that wanted to see the house that in her eyes belonged to them. You see, in our eyes, it was our house. We bought it legally from the Israeli government, from the Department to Abandoned Property. We had the legal documents that showed that we owned the house. In their house, in their eyes, it was their house. They never sold it to us. They had the legal documents that showed that they owned that house for over 160 years, and it was going in their families. It actually was documents both from the Ottoman Turkish authorities, from the English Mandate, and then from the Jordanian kingdom, or whatever it's called. They had more documents than us, if that is a war between lawyers. The mother asked to see my brother's room because they left jewelry and valuable things in there. My dad explained that when my mom and him bought the house, it was totally abandoned and in terrible shape because it was looted before that, but she did not believe. The man was clearly embarrassed and ashamed of his mother, but she went to the room, she looked in all the places where she left jewelry, and obviously nothing was there. The happy end of that story on a personal level is that they became really good friends of my parents. For years, they would come over for Passover, and we would go over their house for some holidays. They were a Christian family, they were not a Muslim family, and I ate the best food I ever ate in my life in their house. And when they came to our house for Passover, they got matzot and matzah ball soup, so I think we got the better part of the deal altogether. As a child, I all of a sudden realized that the house that I was living in, that was morally and legally my parents' house, was also belonging to another family, morally and legally. And as an adult, I realized later on that the country where I was born, the country that I'm a citizen of, the state of Israel, is not only ours, it doesn't belong only to Jews. It definitely belongs morally and legally also to the non-Jewish citizens, what we call Israeli Arabs and what they call themselves Palestinian with Israeli citizens. And even though they vote and can be elected, they are discriminated both legally and in real life. But I also realized that the residents of the occupied territories, the Palestinians who do not have an Israeli citizens, who do not have the right to vote or to be elected, who do not have freedom of movement, who do not have freedom of labor, who could not leave to another country if they want, and are living more than 50 years under an occupation that is not becoming easier year to year, they also have a claim to that land. I am proud to say that my parents and their new acquired friends that are not alive anymore realized that and were able to form a connection. And I hope and pray for a day where all the residents of Israel will realize that, and then Jerusalem will actually become what our sources call it. Our sources call Jerusalem Ir Shel Shalom, a city of Shalom. And right now, sadly enough, as our hearts are torn when we read the news, Shalom is very far from the city of Jerusalem. Shabbat Shalom. It's the anthem. We rise as we turn to page 283 for the Aleinu. Please join me as we read together. Let us adore the ever-living God and render praise unto you, who spreads out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are our God, there is none else.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially John A. DeAngelo, Shirley Tanchester Rees, Frank Fleischaker, Philip Levy, Henry Harris, Arthur Sobel, Sarah Myers, Leah Neustadt, Lily Cardwell, Eleanor Hyman, Maurice Perellis, Gladys Fox, Julie Conrad, Anne H. Obsevit, Leon Fuchs, Gertrude Goldstein, Daisy Schrader, Bernice Hildebrand, Henry Abraham, Harry Perlmutter, Lester Ensign, Lester Lipton, Walter Siegel, Julia Victor, Henrietta Silk, Philip Sherman, Suzanne Katz, Florence Heimson, Florence R. Sales, Sarah Jane Drydell, Inga Berman, Ellen Waldman, Edith Norton, Marvin M. Bronner, Ben Robinson, Ivan Howard, Deborah Franklin, and in recent days, Batya Ariel. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. With the blessed memories of our loved ones in our hearts, we rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom. We ask God to bring peace to all humanity.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'imru amen.
יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו, שתוליכנו לשלום. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that we are guided in the paths of shalom, of wellness and wholeness and peace, and that we are protected from all harm and evil on our way. Bless the work of our hands, and grant us grace, loving kindness, and compassion in your eyes, in the eyes of everyone who sees us. Adonai Shalom, bless us with a Shabbat of Shalom. Shalom to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls. Shabbat Shalom.
Amen. Amen.
Please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you haven't met before, and please don't forget to take some of the goodie bags that the women of Reform Judaism have prepared for us. Shabbat Shalom.